Hi, my name is Jamie Tijerina, and I'm a scientist and activist running for re-election as one of your AD51 delegates. I'm running for AD51 delegate because I love serving our communities, and it's very important that our communities be represented adequately. As a Latina Middle Eastern American woman, it's very important to me to represent our communities and also represent them with the understanding of the intersectionalities between the issues and concerns that we face. In my time as a delegate, I brought attention to issues that were not being prioritized, especially issues pertaining to uplifting the next generation, uplifting people in need, and representing those without a voice. I was the only delegate in AD51 who supported Andrew Yang in the presidential primary, and I openly and proudly advocated for the policy of a universal basic income. In this COVID-19 pandemic, it has become more and more apparent how the existing inequities have been damaging our communities. And a policy like this one, a universal basic income, would ensure that the people right now who are suffering the most, our essential workers, our people who are out of work, will have a lifeline so that they can survive in the hardest of times. As a scientist, I value evidence-based policy. And in this time of COVID-19, it's made it clear just how necessary this type of economic support is, and also how necessary it is to have scientific and research professionals at the table in leadership positions so that they can make decisions that are evidence-based and good for the health of the people. I also focused on outreach to newly engaged Democrats who are energized by the hope brought in the most recent presidential election. During my recent term, I was also the only AD51 delegate who was a member of the Arab American Caucus, where I advocated for peace in the Middle East, support for our Armenian brothers and sisters in Artsakh and Armenia. I also did census outreach as part of the Yalla Count Me In campaign, and I brought attention to the issue of the lack of a MENA category, Middle Eastern North African category, on the census because it was rejected by the Trump administration for inclusion for this year's census. I was also a member of the Chicano Latino Caucus, and on the ground here in AD51, as president of the Highland Park Heritage Trust, I led the effort for the Historic Cultural Monument nomination of the Chicano Arts Collectives of Highland Park. This is a key nomination because not only is our Chicano Latino history at risk here in Highland Park, but it's at risk all over the city and nationally, and even most recently, where we had a member of the Senate block the addition of a Latino Heritage Museum to the Smithsonian. I also sounded the alarm on various issues in a 2019 paper about the legacy and effect of redlining in our city. We suffer from some of the highest levels of student loan debt in the city of Los Angeles, and this debt is largely carried by Black and Latino students. These students have higher levels of default, they have higher levels of unemployment, and some of these higher levels of debt in general are correlated by weak job markets. Here in our district, just in Council District 14, we had a net loss of 800 jobs, and this is 800 heads of household who will now no longer be able to live and work in their community. As a delegate, I will continue to advocate for student loan forgiveness and reform so that future generations will not have to be burdened with these kinds of debts just to be able to have upward mobility and provide for their families down the line. Finally, I was also part of the coalition that achieved a sanctuary city resolution in the city of Los Angeles, and as a delegate, I will continue to advocate for immigrant rights, for a pathway to citizenship for all immigrants, and for fair treatment of immigrants in our communities. So to continue this work, I humbly ask you for your vote for re-election as a delegate in Assembly District 51. I am very excited and very hopeful to be able to continue this work and really move the needle on many of these issues and more. So please, vote Jamie Tijerina for Assembly District Delegate and Communities United for AD51 for Delegate. Thank you.